Welcome to Business Line's State of the Economy podcast, where you'll find insight, analysis, and the story behind the numbers.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the State of the Economy podcast by Businessline. This is Abhishek Law, and I will be taking you through with the real estate trends that is prevalent in India right now. We have with us Mr. Jayesh Rathod, the Director of the Guardian's Real Estate Advisory. Welcome to Businessline, sir.
Thank you, Abhishek. Thank you so much for inviting us to interact on the most favorable topic, real estate.
Thank you, sir. So, obviously, the first question is we already know by now that real estate is witnessing, at least housing sales are witnessing a bull run sort of a thing. How long do you see this momentum going, and what is exactly driving this momentum? Is it higher salaries? I mean, what is the demand driven by right now?
I think especially the three asset class, and real estate being one of the most important of the investment tool, not just in India, but globally too, is always, Abhishek, sentiment driven. And whenever, the sentiments are positive, which are various reasons, for an example, a stable government since last two terms, which is coming to an end, and expectation of, the same government is continuing for the coming third term as well, is the biggest positive factor which is contributing to the overall economic development. I must like to come, edit over here that though we are among the top 5 GDPs of the world, with 1/6 population of the world, the India is definitely going to see a huge bull run, not just for real estate, but all across another industry too. But being roti, kapda, and makan is a basic human need, especially in India, with the stable government, a good infrastructure connectivity, which is happening all across within city and between the all two tier and one cities also is actually contributing to this bull run of the real estate in the most positive and progressive manner among all the asset class, whether it is affordable, mid segment, or the luxury segment. And in my opinion, this is sentiments which is positive, and it will definitely continue for another 3 to 4 years for sure, as far as positivity in the real estate is concerned. So yeah, according to me, it's positive, and people are, and it's not about just qualitative feedback. Even the numbers which I speak to you, last year, we have sold 11,700 crores worth apartment, 50 lakh square feet plus. And imagine if 11 lakhs inquiry has been generated. Now that itself shows that no doubt it's a lead which got generated. But I'm sure the people who has not opted for the project which we are selling at least will go and buy somewhere else. Now, all this indicates that yes, this bull run will continue, at least for another 3 to 5 years for sure, in the most positive manner.
You actually took away 2 or 3 of my questions in one response. Obvious one response was the bull run, the period of the bull run. But in general, as you pointed out, there's been a stable government. There's an expectation of it coming back to power for a third term. But amongst all this, how important has the factors of rate stabilization played out? When I say rate stabilization, I mean the mortgage rates played out.
Mortgage rate you're talking about is the construction funding, right? If I'm rightly understood.
No, in this case, I'm talking about from the consumer point of view. That is home loan rates.
Oh, home loan rate. So, okay, very, very important questions, because 70 to 80% purchase which happens, which we witness, usually go for the home loan. So as far as home loan is still, though there is an increase in the home loan rate, last by not major, but so far it is single digit increase, and the still home loan is not crossed that limit, which will concern the buyer. I don't think so there will be, because still, despite of the increase last time in the home loan rate, people have still make a purchase. You know why? Because the overall salary increased, overall economic, growth, the aspiration of the people to buy and shift from a lower middle class to middle class and a middle class to the higher class is driving the entire real estate gamut, where certainly home loan is a most important factor. But the increase in the home loan rate has not affected the overall market on the sentiment. The people have still gone ahead and make the purchase decisions for their dream homes. So I don't think so it's impacting negatively at all. Not at all.
So basically, the home loan rates continue to be in what we call as the comfort zone, which is the higher single digits, but less than double digits.
Double digit. Indeed. At the same time, would like to also mention over here, Abhishek, when a real estate buyer buys, he just not make his decision based on home loan. It makes his decision based on budget which he has in hand. it also makes on dependent that, okay, what launch benefit I'm deriving it, what payment schedule I'm deriving it. For an example, 20 to 30% of the people who go for subvention scheme, where he has to pay only 20% and no pre-EMI till the possession, because there is an increase in the rate, which usually developer loads on the base rate, so that the consumer just have to pay 20 or 30% initially and nothing till the possession. Now, all this lucrative payment schedule also negate the impact on the home loan rate, which is also contributing to the positive decision which consumer makes when they come to the site. Definitely, overall packaging, positioning, the opportunity call, which every launch brings it on the table, is also a driving force where every all these elements which I told you contribute for a consumer to make a purchase decision.
Right. The other point is we have often written about this, and it's also there across the media about this will for upgrade or the super luxury segment picking up. What is your take on that? What exactly is driving this segment now in India?
I think this question, let me just go back in the past, because COVID, when happened, every industry got affected. Every the sentiments were a little bit, that okay, what will happen once the lockdown will get open. As far as Bombay is concerned, which is the most expensive city among the top three in the world, and when the luxury segment, when I say luxury, is all about South Bombay, which I'm referring as of now, and it has come forward in a most welcoming manner to buy those decisions, because overall economy, every industry, whether you take hospitality, aviations, and many other car industry, the highest sales which is of the car industry has witnessed in last 2 years. Now, all this is contributing towards that luxury segment is doing well, and people don't mind considering and buying those 70 or 50 plus and 100 crore plus apartment in the city of Mumbai. In fact, one of our project has got an amazing response where the ready to move in stock got sold out, which was not, getting absorbed before COVID. People understood the importance of those balcony apartments and the spacious units, especially among the luxury segment, that in case of lockdowns, there's work from home cultures and, the joint families, etc. It is must to have one luxury unit as your home, as your dream home in city of Mumbai. And ever since that project got absorbed so positively over a year, so many other projects have started following those strategy and offering a good, offers to the buyer in terms of luxury projects. And ever since, that segment has never looked back. Even the supply side and the demand side is really, hands in hands. Whatever is getting launched in South Bombay from a luxury perspective is getting absorbed in a very gradual manner. And I always believe anything which is gradual becomes sustainable and there is no looking back. So certainly luxury segments is doing well because of the overall economic development which is happening at nation level.
Right. Since you spoke about demand and supply, taking out the luxuries or super luxury segment out of the equation for the time being, is there in general what we see or what the trends that are generally seen today in the market is there's a huge demand and supply is still trying to catch up because the number of unsold units is going down and also the period of that unsold unit is going down. Is this leading to a price rise somewhere, or is there a probability of this price rise, let's say in this 3-4 period of bull run that you spoke about?
Okay, you're talking about demand supply gap in leading it to any kind of price rise or not. Okay, let's look at city of Mumbai. Now, anything which get launched, I think for me it is demand and supply, because see, real estate always observe inward mobility. When I say inward mobility, any project which get launched at a respective location, 60 to 70% of the people usually buy from the micro market of the same market or the surrounding one. Having said that, especially like for an example, western suburb, which is more populated than central, will always absorb very fast and very quickly compared to the central suburb. But at the same time, the absorption is not about just getting launched. It is also about that, okay, some project get launched, will quickly get absorbed, or 70-80% get sold out in 2 months from the date of launch in western suburb. But the same size of project, if you get in central suburb, it sometimes takes 2 to 3 months or maybe 4 months, but there is absorption. Such absorption always also depending upon the size of the project. When I say so, for an example, 28 lakh square feet project in Borivali is a long horizon of 10 years. And in this 10 years of horizon, real estate may see 1 or 2 cycles for sure. I mean, that's what I observed even the last 2 decades as well also. But at the same time, in the same micro market, if any project is like say 2 lakh or 3 lakh square feet, Certainly, absorption is also depending upon what is a business vision a developer is carry for it. Certain projects require a volume, value, and velocity trade-off, but in the favor of achieving higher volume and velocity and ensuring that value is actually not affecting the profit margin. At the same time, a smaller project or which is premium in nature at say South Bombay will definitely like to have a more importance to the value instead of volume and velocity. So answering it to your question, demand supply gap is certainly there, but it is a function of the location. It is a function of the project vision which developer usually carry and how they want to increase the rate in the most gradual manner without affecting the future of the sale. When I say so, the large project has to be very careful in terms of increasing the price because the wrong price or the higher rate at which it gets launched certainly will get affect the rate of the subsequent building and the phase of the launch. When I say so, because if your launch rate itself is so large for the phase one, then definitely when you launch building two or building three at the increased rate, it will certainly affect the volume and velocity. So demand and supply is gap. There is definitely, but it is so far it is under the control, and I do not see any threat to it where slight increase in the rate will affect this bull run. It will not.
So the other question here is on of Ps or private equity firms. Are they looking to invest in housing companies or in real estate projects now?
Okay, if few research which the reports we usually refer with the Colliers and Knight Frank, etc. Certainly, it shows that there is a little bit drop from 20 to 24% compared to the last year, as far as private equity funds are looking to invest into the real estate. Having said that, the focus is not residential anymore, but largely the commercial office space, which is getting absorbed very decently. There is a drop, but there is an opportunity. Market is positive. People are, but this PE funds are usually looking forward more towards commercials, residential, commercial sector of real estate and data central, warehousing, logistic park, etc. Compared to the portfolio may be a little bit decreased from the residential investment perspective. But certainly there is a drop, but still they are looking for the right opportunity. If you dig out the few last transaction which has happened in Bombay, these are actually towards the commercial side of it. But certainly they are positive, but they are looking for the right opportunity to invest into those kind of projects based on the brand also.
Before I go to commercial real estate, last quick question on residential and cities. So typically, when we talk about real estate in India or housing sales in India, we refer to the 6, 7 large cities or 8 large cities. How do you perceive this new crop of cities where infrastructure addition is happening and connectivity with a former tier one city or connectivity with a tier one city is being added? Let's say a Pune, a Meerut, which is witnessing addition of train lines, infrastructure, bridges, even an Ayodhya, which has come up over the last few months. Let me put it this way, if I may. How do these cities come up? How do you see these cities coming up? Are they going to compete with tier one cities as new zones?
No, certainly not, because tier one cities, the people who are staying in tier one, like say all four metros, will love to continue that way for the lifestyle and the kind of job opportunities which they have experienced and the salary structure. So I do not see major shift from a tier one to tier two city. Having said that, within tier two city itself, like say whether example you take Pune or the Meerut or the Ayodhya, like thanks to Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi for taking such a large initiative of Ram Mandir at Ayodhya, is driving really a good volume of real estate investors or the end user to buy those small plots and make their dream homes over there or the second homes over there. But yeah, I mean, compared to all other cities like say Meerut, Pune, or any tier two, like say Indore, for example, this kind of city always have its own demand. The other cities which are, the other urban pockets which are presence around say Pune or Indore for that reason, or the Meerut or etc., would like to shift to this city because of the infrastructure, which is really giving a good boost to the outskirts of the tier two cities. The accessibility to the real estate, to the most affordable homes, is actually driving the real estate sector. And especially when we were studying Pune market also, I mean, what Pune was for 20 years back and 10 years back and what today, I mean, it's a radial city and it is growing in every direction thanks to the infrastructure which is boosting. Another example was when, okay, now let's see tier one cities are getting connected. When a Delhi and Bombay, the expressway, which is right now under construction between Delhi and Bombay, there are so many developers which are actually considering a large land parcels in the outskirts of Mumbai, which is around these highways which they are looking into. Now, all these infrastructure projects definitely going to give an economic growth to not only residential but commercial real estate too, from an industrial perspective, from logistic park, data centers, and so many. So indeed, I see a positive momentum, and the full credit I should give it to the infrastructure within these two cities and between the two cities, which is getting connected so easily and which is driving the overall real estate growth in these cities as well.
Right. And now my question is on commercial real estate. What is the general trend there? Is it picking up? Is it back to pre-COVID levels? Are rentals up?
Our observation I should share with you post-COVID, especially when all the offices were vacant and when the lockdown got opened up, people started going out more. We have observed that definitely there are large office space which is, is again got occupied, but in a gradual manner. But okay, let me share a couple of examples. Like say, when an IT park was there in the suburbs of Mumbai, which was 12,000 square feet floor plate, which was not getting absorbed because of the spacious size of the floor plate, and nobody was coming forward to occupy it. The moment we sliced those floor plate into smaller office of 400, 500 square feet, and it really got, I mean, in say less than 4 months, the entire 1.5 lakh square feet building got sold out to the people who are residing in the western suburb, which is a hardcore residential market, and those professionals, CAs, tuition class, all those people who actually come forward to occupy the 400, 500 square feet unit with the objective that, okay, why to travel far away from home when such opportunities available very close to at a driving distance from where they are staying, and it is getting absorbed. With this trend, another 3 to 4 or maybe more than 5, when we launched in Bombay, we have actually converted some residential project in the residential areas to a commercial unit and giving smaller unit with self-attached. Okay, it's every professional has a desire to occupy A-grade commercial office space, which was not available before because the spacious unit and the large floor space was only available. But the moment a good luxury product with smaller offices, those kind of experience, ultra luxury, amenities, the good parking facilities, etc. There is a shift which also observed, Abhishek, that a generation X, the earlier generation, which was ready to work in those kind of a smaller office, which are not A grade, but kind of an industrial galas, and really they were doing well. But when second generation came forward, the kind of exposure which they have to all those commercial buildings and office space, even they forward to say that, okay, we want a good commercial office space. So what, even if we want smaller unit. So post-COVID, we have seen the demand for commercial office, a smaller unit is really picked up. And ever since any such project got launched, even by Guardians or by any other developer, has got good response, and the absorption was more than 70 to 80% within 3 to 4 months from the date of launch. So this is a large shift which you have observed, that earlier CBDs were doing well because, Nariman Point, Andheri Kurla Road, Bandra Kurla Complex, Malad Infinity area, which are IT Park, or Powai for that reason, was like a concentrate CBDs area over there. But post-COVID, any such commercial office space got launched in the residential pocket too, has got an amazing response subject to smaller office size.
Yeah, actually, that was also my follow-up question. So, is the demand also moving away from CBDs to fringe areas? When I say again fringe areas, I bring back the discussion of infrastructure we had a few minutes back. So, are we seeing it somewhere along the highways, especially when it comes to this new generation drivers like data centers or warehouses, where you see offices also come up because of connectivity to, let's say, a tier 2 city where people can stay and come back to work in these outskirts? Is that happening?
From in the Bombay context perspective, still 70 to 80% concentration will remain in CBDs only. But as I said, professional who is not ready to travel one hours in the traffic, or maybe by metro nowadays, it's less than that. But still they prefer that if options are available next to their home of 400, 500 self-attached offices for CAs and so many other professions, they are willing to consider it. But having said that, I don't see any less demand or the inoccupancy levels getting higher in the existing CBD. No, in fact, the rate, if you observe in say BKC where our office is there, has got increased over a period, especially post-COVID. because the amount of office space which is getting absorbed here. So I think it is a transition that those who are operating, say in CBDs, when they shifted to suburb, the vacant space again got occupied by the larger companies also. So I don't actually see any kind of the negative impact on it. It's complementing each other.
And my final question is this new crop of industries which are driving real estate demand also on highways, which is warehousing, sometimes data center. How do you perceive them in the long run to play out? Are they going to have is this a sustainable positive impact you see?
Indeed, because the any kind of research report which you picked up, I think the most performing asset class within commercial real estate arm will be data center, logistic park, and warehouse, because the e-commerce which is doing so well, right from food to Amazon to anything which is available on the click of the button, is actually driven by this three asset class. And there shouldn't be looking back as far as tier one and tier two cities both, because the amount. I mean, there are the another thing is the turnaround time, because the ease of doing business, the fastest approval, the construction of all these three which I mentioned you is very fast, and it is built to suit also is doing well, because so many companies are coming forward to occupy such warehouses, logistic and business data center in the outskirts of Mumbai. And in our itself also, like whenever the land proposal comes, our first preference always to look for the client who is looking for this three. So having said that, it is the true for not only Bombay, for all tier one and metros and tier two cities across India, where this three asset class will really perform well in coming years, thanks to the e-commerce.
That is all I had from my end, sir. Thank you. Thank you for being on the podcast. It was lovely talking to you. And thank you once again for your time, sir.
Thank you, Abhishek.